intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot, off the post, score!
Let's try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
Good afternoon and welcome everybody into Fans Only Sports Network's live coverage of the Burrillville Holiday Classic here from Levy Ice Rink in Burrillville, Rhode Island. The second game of day 2 between the Moses Brown Quakers and the Burrillville Broncos. I'm your play-by-play commentator, Chris Hetu, joined alongside Nick Carlson for more hockey action. Nick, this is a good one. 2 Division I rivals playing against each other here today.
Absolutely, and this could be a potential playoff matchup, as both of these teams having fairly good seasons. The team to watch, and probably my pick, one of my teams for my top 5, these Burrillville Broncos, as they have seemingly come out of nowhere this season. They've been playing great physical hockey. Their passing has been through the roof, and just the quality of shots they've been taking throughout this season has been on point.
It's been very on point, and what we've seen from them so far is just strong play all across the board, managing to take down multiple opponents. And here last weekend against Bishop Hendricken, trailed in that one 5-1, managed to scream back, making the game 5-4, but an empty net shot sealed the deal. Hendricken walked away with a 6-4 win. But we've seen this team ever since before its first game, where they were shut down to 1 goal against the LaSalle Rams. That final, that one was 5-1. Multiple score, at least 4 goals scored per game for this unit. They are, without a doubt, in my mind, in terms of the power rankings in the state, I have them ranked at number 3 personally. And for the Quakers, this is a team that's experienced a lot of ups and downs. They lost a couple of guys this year. They're looking to come into this tournament. Sure, this is a non-league game. It doesn't really mean too much in terms of totality. But they managed to sneak into the playoffs and, in fact, beat Burrillville in this very rink in the quarterfinals. So they want to make up off that production and move into this year on a good note.
Absolutely, and even, as you said, it does not matter in terms of the stats, but, you know, come later down the season, you might be facing off against the same team again. It's better to have that confidence knowing, oh, hey, we beat them in the tournament. Why can't we beat them here?
Mm-hmm.
So
it's that familiarity, if you may.
Nothing on paper will stand today, but the emotional and the mental turnout from this could pay dividends for the winning team down the road.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we get the starting lineups to our right of the Moses Brown Quakers. Garno was a big offensive producer last season for the Quakers, including in yesterday's matchup. Taking on Ponagansett, they managed to escape with a 3-2 win yesterday. They have a win in the tournament so far, so they look to keep on the heels of Burrillville, who also won yesterday against North Smithfield. The final was 4-3. So we'll see as these 2 Division I teams take on one another. And the man in net tonight, Camden Lucier, who has been the man in the net for them. Yesterday we got to see Devin Maloney take on. And now Camden Lucier, the star, in the net tonight. A big turnout by the Burrillville crowd today, as this powerhouse of a unit is ready to take on many of the best teams in the state. The only thing that they need to get the monkey off the back against is LaSalle and Bishop Hendricken. Those 2 teams have given them a lot of problems throughout the seasons. And your man in net, number 1, Michael Fioid. And with that, that concludes our starting lineup, so we'll take a moment to honor America for the playing of our national anthem. And as always, with that slap of the stick on the ice, that means we are all set and ready to go. From Levy Ice Rink, a good Division I matchup once again between the Burrillville Broncos and the Moses Brown Quakers. So going back in history, obviously, we go back to last season. This ended up being a 3-game series that went from Levy to Lynch and back to Levy. And Moses Brown managed to pull off an upset that we haven't seen in a very long time. So the Broncos, obviously, are trying to use the momentum from that tough loss last year. They look like a completely different team this year.
Absolutely, and you can see it in the way they play. They're playing more hungry. They want it more. You know, the players that get to wear the jersey for this Broncos team, they're seeing the magic that the coaching staff has brought into Burrillville and the effect that it's starting to have on the team and even the chemistry in Burrillville. As we've seen throughout this season, these guys have been playing off the charts compared to the past few years.
And of course, this team has not won a state championship since 2016. Back-to-back years, 2015 and 16. Looking to get the monkey off their back. Trying to dominate a division opponent. We are underway here in game number 2 of the Burrillville Holiday Classic. Off the face-off, the Quakers dump it into the zone. Taken away by Stevie Rodriguez, and he'll redirect going behind the cage of Fioid. Trying to navigate back to center. It's trapped down in the zone that time from the 8 of Ethan Garneau. And wrapping around the backside, back to Neer. And back right in front. There could have been a scoring chance. That one off the backside of the boards. And Ethan Garneau trying to get the Quakers set up a hard shot that time from Travers. It'll ricochet off to the left and come back to neutral ice. Lucier going to tap that one off for Garneau. Garneau back to center, and he'll get it back into neutral ice. Poisson having some trouble to clear it, and it's dumped back in. Icing going to be the call on the floor with 21:31 to go. And back into the action off the face-off. That shot, first shot of the game taken on Lucier. It's wrapped around back to the far side. Rodriguez sending another one down at Lucier. Can't glove that one up. It stays in play. Bethune tries to find the open lane. Using the stick to knock it down was Murphy. Trying to set it up in front. Another shot on Lucier. And this puck still dangling in the zone. Quakers struggling to get it cleared. Aiden Agarwal back that time over to Jeffrey Larson. And the puck brought back to center ice and dumped into the Broncos zone. Line change coming for both sides. Cam Potter back up to center, and it's dumped in. Quakers back on side, and Potter rifles this one. It's gloved down by Bethune at center and wrapped around back to the near side board. In front of the glass, Sacra Ladies couldn't come up with the possession, and it's cleared back to center that time from the 21 of Dean Perillo. Sacra Ladies, this one hits the backside of the net. And back to the near side glass. Going around, and now this time Niaz, it's dumped back in. Back to the near side once again. Jacob Gomes and Sacra Ladies trying to fight for it, and it's kept in. Stuck against the boards. They continue to fight for this one. And bouncing off the side of the cage. Quakers still looking for that first shot on net. This one's wrapped around back to the far side. Carey being boxed out from this puck. Quakers have been able to keep the puck in their offensive zone, but haven't been able to generate any shots. This one, first one, and it'll go into the glove of Fioid to stop play. Let's get our first word from today's game sponsors. Today's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For a consultation and more information, go to josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And by our elite recruits with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. For high school athletes looking to play at the next level, be seen by being a part of our Elite Recruits. Go to www.oureliterecruits.com to sign for more information. Lucier feeds this one back up to center. And taken away by Rodney Frenette. Bethune sends this one into the Broncos zone. Chasing it down, that time is Cam Potter. And it's wrapped around back to the near side. Garneau trying to make a chance. And he gets it that time to Jack Travers. And we've got ourselves a delayed penalty coming. Both referees' arms up in the air. And still looking to see who the culprit is. And it looks like it's going to be the 16 of Rodney Frenette heading to the box for the Broncos. So the Quakers will go on the first power play of Game 2 in this Holiday Classic. And Ethan Garneau helped off the ice as he was shaken up on that last play. And that's a huge offensive piece that this team may be missing, not just for this tournament, but maybe for the season.
So we're going to have to see how he makes out here. He tried to get up under his own power, but the team just preferred to carry him the rest of the way.
And our thoughts go out to him. Hopefully he'll do all right and be able to come back out on the ice later on. Broncos giving some issues on this power play. Fioid able to glove that one down as the Quakers sent a cannon right at him. And that'll stop play with 1:45 left to go on the penalty. And Quakers come up with the face-off. This one rifled down right in front. Fioid! As that one lazily came down from Jeffrey Larson. Had the 17 of Bethune, or excuse me, the 16 of Gabe Mamdani waiting in the zone. Mamdani had himself a great breakaway, 2 breakaway scores yesterday. Well, the Quakers defeat Pontigansett 3-2. This one coming back up ice. It stays on the blue line. Nearly cleared, and that hesitation results in a Broncos takeaway, and it's tipped back into the zone. In the slot, puck dangling in the air. Fioid had to sell out to go for it, and he lacks a stick now. And he finally gets a hold of it. Fortunate enough, and this one effectively cleared with 50 seconds left to go on penalties. Quakers were crying for an interference, but they're not going to get it. Here comes the 10 of Justin Baxter with the feed that time behind the back of Mamdani. Gabe Mamdani into the zone, and it's taken away. Mamdani somehow refines the possession. However, the 4 of Gunnar London couldn't seem to get the spin around, and the chance on Fioid. 20 seconds to go on the power play. And not much to show, only 2 shots on net. This one rifled at Fioid, and the puck's still in play. Puck dangling right in front. Back to the man who shot it the first time, which was Travers. Trying to set up a man, and the Broncos managed to clear it from Frenette. The penalty expires. Broncos back to full strength as the puck hits center. Line change coming for Burrillville to get the power play unit off. Quakers trying to get the setup. Bethune through center. And the Quakers will get a line change. Frenette trying to escape the clutches of Travers. He flips it off. And it'll come back to center ice over to Staples. Scampering past Ryan Stone. And Bethune to chase this puck around. Poked away. Good chance from the Broncos. And now on the far side, traveling behind the cage is Travers. Back to center. Trapped down there by Frenette and sent back into the zone. Dumping it off to Agarwal. Aiden Agarwal sends it right at Fioid. And the puck traveling back through center. And no icing to be called, excuse me. A lot of defensive pressure, offensive pressure from both sides. Sacrilady struggling to move the puck out of the zone. And this one Going to be shepherded by Sacrilades. And he'll dump this one in to get Agarwal going. Agarwal behind the net. Flips it up to the top. It's nearly dumped back in by Baxter. Agarwal at the blue line. It's trapped down by Rodriguez and cleared back to center. Here comes Stevie Rodriguez. 2-on-2, and the shot deflecting off the defender's pads. And the Quakers stop on an offensive push. Dumped back in by the 11 of Cole LaPrade as he comes back to the bench for a line change. The Quakers will try and clear this one back to center. Mamdani, the feed that went between the wickets of Murphy. Broncos defense struggling to keep the puck off their offensive zone. Been quite a bit of pressure in the last few sequences. Poisson back to center and dumped back in by Travers. Garneau back on the ice after being shaken up. Glad to see him back in play. Potter. Garneau hitting it off the backside of the net, and here comes Ryan Fournette. The feed to Murphy. Pat Murphy tried to deke around the defender, and Mamdani comes up with the possession for Moses Brown. This one to the right on the shot. Travers sends one down, deflects off defender's shins. The Quakers going to have to retreat to regain possession of the puck. Rose to the near side, and now back to the far. Across again, back to near. Right in front of the visiting bench. And it's dumped in. And we'll get our first whistle for icing. 13:53 to go, and we're still scoreless. And back in the action. Quakers off the face-off, dump it past the blue line. It's poked back in, nearly an offside call. They avoid that as Staples brings it back in for Burrillville. Up against the far side boards, it's kicked out over to Bethune. Bethune redirecting behind the cage of Lucier, and he gets some help, much-needed help by the 3 of Will Plum. Right in front in the slot, trying to get some extension. Staples couldn't find that, and he'll come back to the near side. Gomes rifles one down, and met by Roosh. Taken up by Roosh, and too many defenders there for him to make a play. Gomes sends this one back up to neutral ice over to Aiden Polachek. Bethune to take away the possession. They'll send it back up to center over to Agarwal. Agarwal feeds it past Gunnar London, the intended target, and we get another icing back in the Quaker side of things. Back at center. Puck led up over to Gunnar London. Taken behind the net there by Fournette. Fournette trying to shadow in front of Mamdani. And taken away by Agarwal. Chance right there. And Fioyd makes the stop. 5 shots on net so far for the Moses Brown Quakers. They've had 5 unanswered as opposed to Burrillville, who's had 3 early on, but we haven't seen the Broncos take many chances so far on that neck. And sent around the back that time of Roosh. Puck displaced. Neither side can seem to come up with it, and it's trapped down at the blue line by Rose. Sent back into the zone. Good chance for Larson. And fed right past Roosh. It'll come back to center. And scooped up that time by Bethune. Over to Rose. Escapes the stick of Roosh. And sent back to center by LaPrade. Puck continues to not find a possession until Garneau comes up with it. And now here come the Broncos. Shepherding it through center. Trying to take the puck away, play keep away at this moment. And the Broncos being pesky. And that puck going to go out of play by the defense. 11:35 to go. We'll get another word from today's game sponsors. Today's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For consultation and information, go to josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And then by our Elite Recruits, it's access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. For high school athletes looking to play at the next level, be seen by going to our Elite Recruits. Visit www.oureliterecruits.com to sign up for more information. Dumped into the zone, going behind the net of Lucier. Lucier flips it around the backside to the near side board. Very tightly contested game, still remains at 0-0. And that was Baxter trying to flip it back into center. And here comes Gomes to dump it in. Taken by Travers and flipped back up to center ice. Seth Feldman. Travers. Travers had a nice shot going towards Fioy. The defense in its right positioning. Lucier going to stop the puck down and get it off to Max Travers. If you join today's games, we got plenty of more tournaments, but if you got teams playing in this tournament here, the Burrillville Holiday Classic, go to fansonlysports.com. That's sports with a Z. And you can purchase your single game passes so you never miss a moment's action. But if you have the high school streaming pass for the winter season already, you can have access to all of these games. We got you covered there. But if you'd rather just view your team's individual games, we've got you covered there as well. Single game and full season passes, all available at fansonlysports.com. That's sports with a Z at the end. At center ice, the Quakers poke it into the Broncos side of things. It's been balanced all around. Agarwal in the slot, trying to find the opening, and it ricochets past Garneau behind the net. The Broncos avoid some damage. And icing going to be the call on the floor. Quite dead even so far, Nick. Both sides taking chances, but not many shots on net to show.
Absolutely. It has been an absolute dogfight here in the neutral zone. No team willing to give the other a free pass through the neutral zone. That's where we've seen most of the turnovers and most of the hard hits throughout this opening half of play.
And the defenders really doing a good job in terms of blocking up positioning. This one rifled off a defender. And no shot on goal. I mean, it's been a very defensive slugfest thus far. Rifling around the backside. Potter to meet it first. He sends it back past Polacek at center. And it's dumped in back as it's brought down by Nate Nias. Escapes Anderson. And icing the call on the floor. Defensive slugfest is definitely the correct way to kind of call this one. It's just been a back and forth. Neither side can really find an opening.
No, and we've seen both teams try and test the other team's defense, but the problem is they haven't gotten that far. They can't really test the other team's defense if you can't make it through the neutral zone. So at this point right now, I believe both teams are just waiting for the other to blink. Maybe get our first goal on the board.
And that's a good question. Which one is going to blink first? As this one's dumped into the Quakers side of the ice and wrapped around the near side. Back up to the top of the zone. Here come the Quakers. Rifled up, and Fioy gloves this one up and will opt to stop play instead. .9:03 remaining in the first half. Score will knot it up at 0-0 on the faceoff. Wrapped around the backside of the boards. And flipped up ice back to center. Rose the first to meet it. It's poked away. Bethune there to assist as he travels behind the cage of Lucier. Feldman with the feed. Trying to get it off to Mamdani. Gabe Mamdani. It escapes him as Travers is the lone man to get after it. And Rodriguez comes up with it for Burrillville. Feed up to Ethan Murphy. Murphy across ice that time to Nick Carey, and it's poked back to center. Here comes Travers. Travers has it poked away by LaPrade. Up against the near side, Mamdani unable to assist as Rodriguez comes and sneaks by with the puck. Rodriguez crosses the blue line onside, bounces off of Lucier, First shot we've seen in quite some time on the net. And it'll wrap around back to center. Dumped away as Travers had the puck poked away from him. Here comes Fournette. Fournette 2-on-1, trying to get into the zone as his team got a line change. He gives it back to the point to Potter. And Garneau comes up with the possession for the Quakers. It'll come back to center to Sacralades. Here comes Sacralades. Giving it off. Fagan Nagarwal. He had the right idea, but just a little too high. And Fioid will stop this one behind the net. Potter rifles it back up to the neutral zone. And it's tipped up and brought down to earth by Max Travers. Wrapping around the near side board. And now bats back up to neutral ice. Pat Murphy trying to find the opening to get around between three. And the Broncos might have a chance. The setup shot. Another save. The 18 of Poisson and the 10 of Ryan Fournette tried to tag team it, or it might have been Cole LaPrade, excuse me. It was Cole LaPrade, number 11, but unable to find the threshold. Quakers move this one up ice. Travers, he'll dump this one in. Sacralades. And now up against the near side. Poked free, and the puck will retreat back to center. This one rifled down and a whistle called. Looks like we have an offsides. 6:32 remaining in the first half. And we'll get a face-off at neutral ice. Over to the 15 of Wilson. Sent across, a good feed that time. Oh, excuse me, the 15 of Niaz, and he gets it over to the 6 of Pat Murphy. Bringing it up now, a good chance for Aiden Roosh. And Roosh forced off to the left. Brock back up to the near side. Here comes Carey. Fed it to Ethan Murphy, whiffed on the pass, and he'll come back near. No icing to be called. Niaz trying to go along the backside. Right in front. The puck still in the vicinity that time. The Quakers get a shot on net from that. And they try and feed it to the point. Rose sends one down and finds the back of the net. The scoreless streak in this one ends off of a hard wrister slap shot from the 19 of Trevor Rose. And the Quakers break through on the scoreboard first. With just 5:43 remaining in the first period, your score 1-0.
Great sequence there from Moses Brown. As we saw, the blue line had all the time in the world they wanted to shoot that one. Don't know if it might have hit a few bodies on the way, but nonetheless, in the back of the net it goes, and we now have our first goal of the day.
First goal of the game. It's just obviously a little weird for us since the last game was so high scoring. But now we finally get our first etch on the scoreboard. And it's the Quakers to strike first, icing the call there. 5:20 remaining in the first half of action. And that was just an excellent setup. He just somehow, Rose got possession of that puck at the blue line. Just a rocket, an absolute sniper of a shot from the blue line.
And it's all the timing. He had to look at that. All of the Burrillville players were inside of the face-off circles, maybe even closer to the goal line. So plenty of time to really dial that one in, and just enough time to squeak that one in.
And finding that opening is 100% the key word. They saw the daylight and executed to perfection. Broncos looking to make up for that one and even the accord. As it's dumped in, Poisson meets it after the dump off, but it's taken away by Mamdani. Gabe Mamdani, he's had a breakaway goal already too, and Fioid makes a great save. We've seen Gabe Mamdani do it himself. He nearly did it again that time. .501 remaining in the first period. And the score, Quakers 1, Burrillville 0. And we'll get a face-off on the Broncos side. Off the face-off. It's at the top. Rifled down. And good thing Evan Polachek was there waiting on Rose. As this one sent back the other way. Rose nearly had a second opportunity. The Broncos managed to sniff it out. Here comes Jack Travers. This one wide to the left of the net. Fioid trying to get back in quickly. Back to center. And the Quakers come up with the possession. Back to mid-ice. Nick Carey. It bounces off of the skates of Potter. A chance. That one off of Fioid as the 21 of Jack Travers came in there. And couldn't be cleared. Back to center. Rose to dump it in. It bounces off of Feldman. And cleared by Carey. Trying to poke Garneau a whole bunch, but Bethune gives him some assistance and dumps it off to Trevor Rose. Rose dumps this one in from center, and Fioid has to stop this one. That was a dangerous location that the puck was dangling in. And we'll get a face-off.
I feel like this is only the beginning of these weird bounces. I know I said it in the last game. A lot of players blowing tires, falling all over the ice, and the puck taking a lot of weird bounces, that being another one. Almost a routine, should have been a routine save, almost turned into our second goal of this one.
It could have very well been the second goal of this one. And so far, another one coming at Fioid, and that's another glove save. 3:45 to go. We've seen a huge generation of shots on nets out of nowhere from the Quakers. Burrillville only held to 5 shots on goal so far. This Quakers defense has really played tall so far. And dumped away, back to the near side. Poked back up, trying to get it back to center ice. And eventually poked away from Pat Murphy. Pat Murphy trying to gain the separation in front of the defenders. He tried to flick it over the top. A little too high. As it goes off to the right side, and it'll come back to the Quakers. Carosi flips this one into the zone. And dumped away by Cam Laramie. And Poisson gets the puck back to center. Baxter back to center. Poisson with the interception. Patrick Poisson crossing, has some trouble with Max Travers tying him up. And Lucier makes the wise decision to stop this puck with 3:02 remaining. Broncos just haven't been able to find themselves in the proper position to generate offense so far, Nick. We just haven't had the setups that you'd normally see.
Absolutely. I mean, and whenever they have gotten something close to a setup, there's easily 2 or 3 Quakers within the vicinity to try and break it up. But as we see, Moses Brown able to clear their zone.
Sacralades navigates and dumps this in to the Broncos side of the ice. Under 3 minutes to go, nearly 2.5 minutes to go, and the Quakers hold the lead 1-0. Agarwal being tied up a whole bunch by multiple Broncos defenders, and Rodriguez will bring the puck back up to center. Stevie Rodriguez crosses the blue line, trying to navigate around Rose. Rose, great job of boxing the defender out. Agarwal will take it behind the cage of Lucier. Agarwal defeats Sacralades. Vasilis Sacralades, the shot on Fioid, and a save. 2:10 to go. And we'll face off once again in the Broncos territory at the point. Dumped down by Baxter. Potter, it's poked away from him, and he needs some assistance that time from Stone. Travers to retreat for this puck as he flips this one back up to center ice. Potter dumps this one back in. Lucier opts to stay in the net as Travers comes up with the assistance. Stolen by Dean Perillo. Broncos have possession with a smashing of Quakers to come in as Mamdani takes it away. Puck dumped into the zone as they really have to chase this one down. Minute and a half remaining as our clock lags a little behind here in this first half. Guiding it back to center was Staples, and Garneau, who once again is back on the ice after being shaken up earlier. It's dumped back in by his teammate Seth Feldman. Up to center, taken up by Fournette. Fournette. Puck stopped down, and it's dangling through the air. 1 minute remains in the period. Shot on net, and the save from Lucier. It's the first shot on goal from the Broncos since around the 6-minute mark, I want to say. We haven't seen them enter the zone with much offense. 58 seconds left in the first period. Score 1-0, Moses Brown. Burrillville looking to answer back. Cole LaPrade. Feed to Jacob Gomes, and it'll go back to LaPrade. Brought up here from the 10 of Fournette, and it'll come back up. Back to center, back to LaPrade. He dumps this one back in as he takes a hard hit in front of the home bench. 30 seconds to go in the first period. Flips it off. Intended for Agarwal. Poisson, the puck completely displaced before Patrick Murphy dumps it in. Now we're under 20 seconds to go, and icing the call on the floor with just 18 solid seconds remaining. And we'll face off on the Broncos side of the ice. Definitely not the position the Broncos wanted to go, as the Quakers still lead this one in the early minutes. Off the face-off win, Potter has the puck poked away from a whole bunch. Huge real estate set up for the Quakers as they get one shot off the backside of the net. This one ricocheting from the defender, poking his stick out. Polacek and crew, Niaz, trying to play keep away, and that will end the first period of action. After one, score 1-0. The Quakers lead the Broncos in a very tightly contested game. We'll take a break here on Fans Only Sports Network and come back for the conclusion of the Game 2 of the Burrillville Holiday Classic right here on Fans Only Sports Network. In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
In, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, Throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try
Check
a
1,
kick.
2.
Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone. Intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Let's try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field. End zone. That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Gonna try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to
Check
his
1,
right,
2.
throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Gonna try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Gonna try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Gonna try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
And fires. Deflected. No. Rebound. Score!
The handball shot off the post. Score!
Gonna try a kick. Goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher. Shot. Score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown. And welcome back to Levy Ice Rink here in Burrillville, Rhode Island. Score in the matchup between the Burrillville Broncos and the Moses Brown Quakers sits at 1-0. Quakers had themselves quite a start. Broncos looking to get back on the scoreboard. And we are back in action for the start of the second half. as it's dumped up ice by Gomes and into the offensive zone. At center. Will be brought downhill by the Quakers. And that crosser, a little too wide to the left as they keep up the attack. Rodriguez feeds it up ice to Ethan Murphy, and it's taken away and dumped back into the Broncos zone by the Quakers as they get a line change out. Murphy with a hard hit past center as Rose takes it behind the net for the Quakers. The feed across and back at center ice now for Will Carosi. Carosi redirects, and he got all tripped up from that freshly resurfaced ice, and the puck heads back in the opposite direction. Icing the call on the floor. What do we need to see out of the Broncos, Nick, if we want to see them get on this scoreboard?
Well, they're doing a pretty good job of being able to get Moses Brown out of their defensive zone. The problem where they're running into is they cannot get it through the neutral zone clean. And when they do get it through, they're forced with maybe 1 or 2 instead of their full 5.
Lucier clears it right in front. This one hits off of Lucier's net. Off of the pads, in fact. And Murphy, or excuse me, that's London, clears it back to center. Potter with the feed to Fournette. And Fournette will dump it into the zone. Broncos quickly trying to get a line change out there. Quakers trying to come up with some type of defensive action right in front. Wow, a big time save. And this one will be flipped behind the back that time. Sacralades checked against the board. Excuse me, the boards. Potter, wow. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, for that belch on the air. Potter at the point, rifles it down, bouncing off. This one nearly going into the back of the net as it's dangling there. This one comes all the way back to center. Rifled down right in front. Another big save. Broncos following 2 shots. And they keep up the pressure. Potter, it's tipped off the stick of Sacralades. And right in front of the net. And Sacralades ultimately comes away with it. Potter poking it back in. And finally the Quakers can wipe the spread off. They can wipe the sweat off their brow for now, but they're going to have another face-off. That was a very good Broncos attack right there, etching on 5 shots in just one sequence.
And I know we talked about it before the half. Burrillville not getting the volume of shots that we've seen, especially being a team that averages almost 4 a game.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a great way to open up the second half if you're Burrillville.
Definitely looked a little flat in the opening moments of this game, but they have really turned it around in at least these past 2 minutes. On the near side, dumped around, heading to the far side that time as Jack Travers will clear it up ice. Ooh, a good chance for Garneau. Ethan Garneau, it bounces off of Fioy. Bethune or Mamdani in that case couldn't finish off the rebound. And the Quakers will try again as they dump it in. Gomes, the first to meet it as he's pushed around by Mamdani for possession. Ultimately getting some help from Gabe Anderson. Nate Miez struggling up against that far side board. And it's brought up to the point. Travers sends one down off to the right. Anderson getting some pressure from Jack Travers, and eventually the Broncos clear it back through center. And icing the call on the floor. 18:58 to go. Both teams have taken solid chances on their opposing nets. However, it's just been a defensive slugfest. You can see the shot differential there, 14-10 in favor of the Quakers. Another one coming down. Patrick Murphy, breakaway opportunity brewing. Has the man to his left. The shot bouncing off of Lucier. Still in play before he brings it down. What a save as Ethan Murphy saw nothing but daylight on that play.
Absolutely, and that is probably about the last guy on this Burrillville team you want to leave that much space for. We've seen him do it from close. We've seen him hit it from the blue line.
And we'll see if they'll be able to capitalize finally as they reach near dead even with the Quakers. They only trail by 3 shots on goal. And as we know, you keep trying, eventually you're going to break one through. You miss all the shots you don't take. Poisson, this one bouncing off the protective glass as Poisson sent one down. It's still in the zone. Patrick Poisson to poke it up ice. Up against the boards, Fournette needing some assistance as the puck still dangles in front of that board. Carosi coming up with it, and he'll head up to center. The leading pass to Garneau. Garneau setting him up. Agarwal couldn't get set in front of the net. And this one goes back to Lucier. He'll shuffle it off that time to Baxter as the Broncos get new skates out. Bethune back to Baxter, and Baxter will give it to Agarwal, who then gives it to Garneau. Great job by these Broncos defenders, really using the body checks to their advantage. Potter shuffled off his game a little bit. And Ethan Murphy to come in. Poked forward for Potter to make a play on, but a little bit of hesitation for the Broncos. Rodriguez trying to get in there and end that. Mamdani trying to regain possession as Murphy fights him for it. And the puck goes back in the opposite direction as it floats towards Lucier, and he'll stop play. Let's get a word from today's game sponsors. Today's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For more consultation and information, go to josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And then finally by RR Elite Recruits with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. Be seen by being a part of RR Elite Recruits. Go to www.rreliterecruits.com to sign up for more information. Gomes tips it back to center for Staples. Staples sends it down before it's taken away by Max Travers, who in turn dumps it into the zone. LaPrade cutting it between defenders before he's tripped up. We got a delayed penalty. It's going to go against Moses Brown. And that will be the penalty call. With 16:48 to go, that's going to send the 16 of Gabe Mamdani to the box. 2 minutes for a slash. So the Quakers, this is not the situation you'd want to be in. You're up 1-0, and you give the Broncos a chance to get some shots on goal with the extra man. Off the face-off. Broncos trying to take full advantage. They stop it right at the blue line. Carey, it's tipped back out, and Potter has to clear it at center. Potter has it taken away by Aiden Agarwal, trying to set up a short-handed chance for Moses Brown. This one bouncing off of Fioid off to the left. Stevie Rodriguez that time to Potter. Potter heads up center. Pass off that time to Carey. Carey wraps it around the backside of the net. And up to the top shelf as Potter dumps it back in. And Potter going to have to retreat after this one. Potter across ice to Carey. Under 1:15 to go on the penalty. And leading it for Pat Murphy. Bethune trying to send it the other way, trying to get some help from Larson. Or Garneau in this case, as it's dumped back in. Rodriguez in the slot. This one defended off to the right side. Under a minute to go on the power play. Broncos have to retreat here. LaPrade back up to center to Carey. Carey leading a man a little too much as he sent it for Fournette. And Lucy are going to make the stop as the puck traveled a little too close to the sun. 44 seconds left to go on the power play.
You know, Chris, looking at this game compared to the last, haven't seen as many penalties. Knock on wood, have not seen as many penalties throughout this one. Only our third penalty of the day. Or third in this one.
I agree. We've seen some very disciplined play from both sides. And so far, PK units have played spectacular in terms of allowing power play goals. We haven't seen one let up today.
No, not one power play goal yet. However, only the third on the day, so 6 minutes total for the game.
This one lazily floats past Lucier off to the right. Trying to set him up at the point. LaPrade sends one down. Lucier, tough glove save. Broncos about to make the shot. Differential dead even. And we'll get a face-off with 30 seconds remaining on the power play. 15-18 to go in regulation. Rodriguez up to carry at the point. Down that time to Pat Murphy. Murphy looking for an opening. Murphy downhill that time to Ethan Murphy. Back to Pat Murphy. At the top of the zone, Rodriguez back to Potter. Potter over to Carey. Carey sends one a little wide to the left. 5 seconds remain on the penalty. They need to act fast. Potter at the top of the zone. Moses Brown back to full strength. The puck right in the perfect place in the slot. And Pat Murphy's shot ricochets to the right side as the power play comes to an unceremonious end. Here comes Ethan Murphy. Good chance trying to backhand it at Lucier. And it'll go back to the near side. Rodriguez sending another one down. Carey to meet it first as he dumps it around the back of the cage. Rodriguez sets it right in front, and they weren't in the right position. Carey, and it's poked back to center ice by Gabe Mamdani. 2-on-1. Mamdani waits for his offense. And the Broncos poke it back to center ice. Steen Perillo, the culprit there. A good feed up front. Oh, a hard hit right in front of the net. Or off to the far side on Will Carosi. And the Quakers could have had themselves a scoring chance. Stone dumped this one into the zone, and it's taken away by Bethune. Kyle Bethune sending it to the far side, and he'll shepherd it through center. The 17 of Bethune navigates, dumps it off, shot, bouncing off of Fioid. Puck dangling in front of the net. That was a huge chance, and it stays in play. And another one coming at Fioid, bouncing off the shin pads. The shot earlier from Gunnar London, Bethune, the culprit that time. And we'll get a whistle finally as we have a skater down. That's the 33 of Jacob Gomes. And he's slow to get up. And he's going to have to be helped off the ice after that one. Fortunate to see all players that have been injured have been able to get off under their own power.
I don't know if it's some sort of voodoo, but both injuries this game have been same exact spot, same sequence.
It's that
both
pesky
players
corner.
putting bodies on the line and having to get helped off the ice again. However, still 1-0 here.
Back in the action behind the net. Going around back to the near side is Fournette. And Pat Murphy trying to make a play on this puck to get it back to center, and they do. It's dumped back into the zone as Niaz gives it off to Potter. Potter all the way up to Pat Murphy. Murphy having to re-navigate. That was a great shot attempt coming from Fournette. However, a great save by Lucier. He's been playing on fire today so far. Niaz awaits the puck as Murphy gives it to him. Little much of a lead on Fournette. And the Quakers come up with the possession. Max Travers, it's sent back to center and scooped up by Garneau. Garneau being shadowed a whole bunch as Niaz was there. And now it's center Pat Poisson. It'll be dumped in by Bethune. No, it won't. It will stay at center. There's Bethune again, giving it off to Rose. Rose, who has the lone goal, sends it up ice as it deflects off of Garneau, eventually leading into the zone. Now in net, for the Burrillville Broncos, Michael Fioid benched in favor of the 30 of Devin Mansloff, who started yesterday. This shot at Lucier's glove and a save. 11:58 to go. Let's get a word from our sponsors at Precision Home Lending.
Want to close your home purchase or refinance faster? Contact me, David Delbonis, at 401-487-7379, President Precision Home Lending. Trust the experts and we'll make your loan experience amazing.
Off to the far side, off the face-off. Broncos lose that possession ultimately as Travers sends it up ice. LaPrade to pull this puck away, and he'll bring it back up to center. Carey was intended for Rodriguez, and Carey will just dump this one in behind Lucier's cage. Rose, pass that was to Laramie. That's intercepted. Rodriguez getting tangled up, but he'll come away with the possession, leading LaPrade. LaPrade bounce off the shot from the defender. Murphy back to Laramie. Breakaway try coming. Aiden Agarwal has one man to beat. Shot off of Mansloff. Great save. And the Broncos avoid a serious damage right there. Rodriguez the lead. It will go past Carey. Line change coming for Burrillville once again. Bethune up ice. And Potter going to have to chase this one down, icing the ultimate call on the floor. 10:55 to go in regulation. Now for the face-off with 10:55 to go. Score still 1-0. As the puck hits the floor, it's wrapped around the backside by Staples. Back to the near side. Niaz at the point. Sends one down off of Lucier. A high shot. And it'll go backwards. Potter coming up with the puck up near the faceoff dot. Trying to redirect. Quakers just all over the place. This defense has just been on fire. As this puck travels into the zone, it'll be called icing. 10:27 left to go. Behind the back of the net and wrapped around to the far side. Mamdani's pass broken up, and Murphy going to dump it in, but Rose brings it back up. Fournette to come help out. Fournette in the zone. Fournette traveling behind the cage. Fakes going to the back door, and he'll go up to the 16 of Fournette. Rodney Fournette's shot rifled down, and he'll wrap around back to the near side. Broncos having trouble setting this one up. Fournette sends this one down, and Pat Murphy had the right idea, just couldn't deflect it with the stick. Trapped up against the boards. They're just trying to kick the puck free. Eventually Garneau will clear it through center ice. And we're going to get no icing as there was a line change coming. And send in the opposite direction as the Broncos get a line change. Whistle called. And it looks like we're going to have a penalty go on number 19 that you can see on your screen there. The 19 of Trevor Rose entered the box for 2 minutes. And the call looks for a hold. 9:22 to go. Score still 1-0. Broncos go on their second power play of the half. They were unable to capitalize the first time. We'll see if they can do it here. Off the faceoff, Potter sends one down wide to the left. Back to Carey. Carey with a chance, sends it at Lucier. It deflects off, and a save.
And you know, Chris, the longer this one goes on, you can feel the intensity start to build. The hits are getting harder. The plays are getting bigger. It's only a matter of time. I feel it.
We'll see how the conclusion of this one really ends off. 9:15 to go as we continue play. Murphy, and a whistle called. And it looks like we got a penalty, and it's going to go against Burrillville. So Ethan Murphy's going to hit the box. And that's truly deflating, as that's a cross-check called against him. As they were only a minute and 43 into the power play, it will be reduced to 4-on-4 hockey. Cross-check the call on the ice with 9:08 remaining. Both teams are dead even out there, each lacking a man. Potter checked into the boards as Bethune gives it off to Agarwal. This one ricocheting off of Fioid. And now it's center. Bethune navigates the opposite way. Bethune tried to feed it to Mamdani, who didn't seem to realize it was coming his way, but he'll come away with the possession. Mamdani sends one at Mansloff that's knocked down. And Rodriguez with the interception. Rodriguez has Carey all by himself. Lucier trying to come out of the net. Wow. That was a very interesting play by him. Carey right in front. Shot, score! The Broncos break through on the scoreboard. On the 4-on-4. Number 22, Nick Carey sinks it in the back of the net for Burrillville. And we're all tied up at 1 apiece with 8:21 left to go. Wow, what a goal, Nick. What a goal. 8:20 to go. And we're all knotted up. At center, off the face-off. After the tie, we still have 4-on-4 hockey ensue, as that was not a power play. It's tipped in by Fournette. And Fournette being poke-checked a whole bunch by Jack Travers as the puck's displaced in front of the boards. Potter keeping it in play, or Murphy, excuse me. Fournette pokes it back the opposite way. Travers behind the net, sends it behind the back to Baxter. Baxter back to Travers. Travers to Garneau, and Garneau will shepherd it as he's checked into the visiting bench. And it's brought back down to earth by Murphy. Baxter being manhandled a whole bunch until Cam Potter comes up with it. Potter through center ice. Potter looking for some help, has Rodriguez. Rodriguez sends one off of Lucier. And it's sent back up to center, going right past. Icing going to be the call on the floor with 7:15 to go and only 7 seconds remaining on Moses Brown's power play. Let's get a final word from today's game sponsors. Today's game is brought to you in part by Joseph Lammy, 696 Reservoir Ave in Cranston, Rhode Island. For consultation and information, go to josephlammy.com. Joseph Lammy, attorney at law. And then by our elite recruits, with access to 3,000 schools and 80,000 coaches across 38 NCAA sports. For high school athletes looking to play at the next level, be seen by going to our elite recruits. Visit www.oureliterecruits.com to sign up for more information. We're back to full strength now as Ethan Murphy comes back onto the floor. Bethune dumps this one in. It bounces off of Mansloff to the left. Traveling behind the net. And Fournette, or LaPrade in this case, trying to get it back up to center ice. Gomes sends it up that time for Murphy. Murphy to Rodriguez. Stevie Rodriguez navigates around one defender, breaks through the other. Trying to set him up. Hoyson whiffs on the shot. Trying to set up a perfect one-timer. Rodriguez again, and Lucier with a great save. .6:27 to go, and we're all knotted up at 1 apiece. Once again, Nick, a potential overtime could be brewing as of right now.
And for the first time today, we've seen 5-on-5. 3-on-3 for overtime, and now we just had our first 4-on-4 of the day.
Coming back up, Garneau. Ethan Garneau to feed him. And that was actually our second correction. Got a little... I keep thinking today was yesterday almost. Stone dumps that one in. Lucier lets this one escape him a little bit. And it'll be given off to Mamdani. Gabe Mamdani trying to send it around Potter. He's pushed to the floor, and Mamdani will navigate between two. Mamdani, 2-on-2, 1-on-2, and the puck escapes him. Garneau coming up with the possession. Ethan Garneau crossing the blue line, traveling between, and a great poke check from Ryan Fournette. Good chance right in front for Carosi. It bounces off a Mansloff, and the Broncos clear it back through center. Rose, first to make contact. He'll send it up ice to LaPrade. LaPrade over to the near side to, that was Gomes. Gomes with the dump up. And on the near side, a lot of pushing and shoving in front of the bench. Gomes had Travers all over him, and it's headed back to center to Bethune. Rose the feed, and Gomes gets it away from Agarwal. Poisson to Fournette, and Lucier gloves that one up with 4:45 to go. And back in the action as we continue the play here. And the whistle will stop play with 4:38. And as play ensues, we'll head back through center. Mamdani, and a whistle called. We got offsides. And some shoving a bit, a little bit of extracurricular. And officials, we're not sure if they're going to assess any penalties.
No, the Moses Brown bench looking for a call there. If I'm the official, I don't give the call without the offsides. That's a clean hockey hit all day.
And back through center, trying to make a Broncos push. Behind the net, Potter trying to get the setup. Rodriguez sends it up to the point. Niez down to Potter. Potter leading Rodriguez. Rodriguez rifling one at Lucier, and it bounces away. Out of contention. Murphy to keep it in play, and poked back to center ice. Dumped into the zone from London. Mansloff had to come out of the net for a moment. And the puck displaced, as neither side seemed to come up with it until Rodriguez gets a hold on it. Stevie Rodriguez has the puck taken away. Good setup for Agarwal, and Mansloff stands tall once again. And Agarwal slamming that stick down as he knew he had a wide open lane.
And you can see some of the frustration as he comes back to the bench.
And off the face-off, LaPrade navigating between defenders. And the lead that time to Murphy. Pat Murphy behind the back to Fournette. Fournette has the puck poked away as Garneau comes up with it for the Quakers. Garneau through center ice. Ethan Garneau dumps it into the zone. 3 and change to go in regulation, and we might be hitting overtime. Dump back in for Gomes. And Poisson clears it back to center ice. Rose gives it off that time to Travers, and it's dumped back the other way. Gomes to LaPrade. LaPrade up to center, over to Fournette. Fournette, good feed that time. Shot from Poisson, deflected down and away. And now back at center. Niaz dumps it in. 2.5 to go, and icing the call on the floor with 2:34 remaining. Might be getting our second overtime game of the afternoon, as this one has just been very tight and contested throughout. This is game number 2 of 3 today. Pawnaganset and Cumberland to face off after this one. And if you want to check out any of the Burrillville Holiday Classic or any of our other high school hockey tournaments here on Fans Only Sports Network, go to fansonlysports.com. You can purchase your passes there. If you already have a full season winter pass, you have access to all the tournament games, including this one. But if you'd rather just watch a specific game for your favorite team, we've got you covered there. We've got single game passes there on fansonlysports.com. That's sports with a Z at the end. Through center. And back the opposite way. Rodriguez trying to set one up lazily in front of Lucier. Ultimately, a glove save with 2:07.
Chris, there have been some sequences this second half where Lucier's almost been standing on his head.
Absolutely. We've seen him standing on his head for a lot of this. And he just has been very good up until this point. 25 shots have been saved on 26. And Mansloff will bring that one down with 1:59 to go. But more likely than not, Nick, we're probably going to see another 3-man on the ice overtime period ensue. Unless I ultimately jinx that. You never know.
The first one today only going maybe about 2 minutes and change in until we had the game winner. If this one goes to overtime, let's see how far it'll go.
We shall see. It's always each of the overtime games we've seen here all resulted in overtime wins. We didn't go to shootouts. This one to Potter. That was Murphy. This one a crosser. And they have to stop play, obviously, as that net came off the mooring. Lucier's helmet came off as well. Fortunate to be all right with 1:37 to go in regulation.
Awkward collision there with Lucier and a few of his teammates. The referee quickly going to check on Lucier, as he appears to be okay.
Yeah, it luckily appears to be all right, so we'll get a face-off with 1:37 to go in the Quaker side of the ice. And the face-off. And it's brought up by the Quakers. And it'll come back to center. Potter dumps this one back in. Carey had to get back on side as he couldn't touch the puck. Potter checked there, and we got a whistle called. And it looked like it might have been an offsides. So we'll come face off one more time at neutral ice. Murphy with the feed to Rodriguez in the slot, and the Quakers clear this puck. Over to Potter. Potter sends this one up ice to Rodriguez with a minute to go in regulation. Murphy sends one at Lucier. It's deflected to the right. And they battle for it on the near side boards. Quakers probably just trying to send this to overtime as the Broncos have a lot of momentum. But here comes Travers trying to silence that thought. Agarwal off of Mansloff, and will come off to the left side. Bethune sends one down as it's deflected off the sticks. And Potter will try and reestablish some offense. Rose intercepts, and it's dumped in by Gabe Mamdani. Mansloff giving it off to LaPrade to Potter. Potter flips it back to center, trying to lead Carey. It would have been a beautiful pass if it connected. But now Garneau, one last gasp as he's tripped up. Chance to take a shot. This one bouncing off of Mansloff, and they'll come back around with under 5 seconds to go. Puck trapped up against the near side, and that will do it for regulation. Score after 2, 1-1. We'll be back in just a moment for the conclusion of this one as we hit overtime right here on Fans Only Sports Network. In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Oh, Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Comes in, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Oh, Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Comes in, fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
In, and oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across. Overtime brewing. Score 1-1 as the Quakers and Broncos are all tied up here in game 2 of 3 in day 2 of the Burrillville Holiday Classic from Levy Ice Rink here in Burrillville, Rhode Island, way out in the woods, in fact. But who am I to talk? I live in the woods in North Smithfield, so 3-on-3 overtime match. Here we go. Underway. Quakers win the face-off. Chasing after is Max Travers. Travers with Pat Murphy on his tail. He'll use the speed and the momentum to head forward. 2-on-1. Travers trying to get around Potter. The shot on Mansloff. Dangling right in front. Good chance. Blocked away that time from Murphy. At the point, Travers sends another one down, and Mansloff with a big save and 4:37 to go. So our third overtime of the tournament, second of today, as EG managed to edge out on North Smithfield, final of 5-4. This game at 1-1. Rodriguez through center. Stevie Rodriguez, 2-on-2, cutting around the backside. He'll come back around to the blue line and redirect the opposite way. A lot of snow kicked up. No one chasing this puck down for some reason. Carey really hesitating as Agarwal gives it back to Bethune. Bethune up to Gabe Mamdani. Mamdani. LePrade trying to poke him a whole bunch. Trying to set up Agarwal. One-time slap shot wide to the right that time. And they'll have to clear it at center. Mamdani opted out for Garneau. Agarwal giving it off to Bethune. Kyle Bethune to charge forward. Bethune cuts back in. Bethune right there. Save as Agarwal delivered another cannon of a shot. And Mansloff stands up tall. 3:36 to go.
And you know, you can
Face
being 3-on-3, you don't, as you said, not a lot of people in very hot pursuit for the puck, not trying to give up their defensive markings.
But here's a good chance. Garneau, however, taking it away from Patrick Murphy, preventing anything from occurring. And we'll cut back in. Garneau trying to get it around Potter. Garneau! Oh my goodness. You have got to be kidding me. Garneau trying to find the back door there. Mansloff shutting that down somehow. I have never seen that in high school hockey. If you're dragging that puck right in front of the goaltender and finding that back door, chances are at least 90% of the time it's going in.
So Burrillville might have just received the late Christmas present that the Broncos need to stay in this one. Still 1-1 it remains.
Still remains 1-1. That's the story of this one. This one going back through center. Excuse me, as Will Carosi will bring it up for the Quakers. Broncos have been able to have hardly been able to establish offense in this overtime period. Bethune at the top. Bethune cutting inside, giving it off that time to Carosi. This one high and wide. And they'll try again. Bethune to Agarwal. Agarwal cutting into the slot. Agarwal bouncing off of his own man's skates. And this puck comes back to center ice. Left it open for Poisson, and his shot deflecting off the defender. Poisson, wide open lane. He whiffed on his chance, and it's kicked away. Carosi coming off for Justin Baxter. Gabe Mamdani back in the game as well. Bethune to Mamdani. 2 and change to go. Bethune patrols and gives it up to Mamdani. Mamdani crossing the blue line. Mamdani back on the backside that time to Baxter. And Rodriguez to get on top of it. Broncos offense just hasn't been able to get going, but maybe they'll have something brewing here. Potter to Nick Carey. Dumps it into the zone. Carey going to have to really skate hard for this one. Carey trying to get around Mamdani, and Travers comes in to take the puck away and give it over to Baxter. No, it's taken away by Rodriguez now. Rodriguez trying to drag the puck with them. Wrapped around the boards to Potter. Potter looking for the lane. Blocked there. And swipes it away from Baxter. Rodriguez needing help as he slammed into the boards. He's hurt. He's hurt. And there's a delayed penalty coming. Shot by Carey. And Rodriguez. That's a huge loss for the Broncos if he's hurt. And he's really winded from that hit. 1:18 to go. And the Broncos had something going on there. Rodriguez being asked to do too much, but he appears to be all right, skating off under his own power. So now the Broncos will head on a power play, and the Broncos call a timeout. So a penalty called on the 10 of Justin Baxter. We sit at 1 apiece with 1:18 left to go in overtime. Back in just a moment. And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Johnson fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And oh, the ball's loose. He'll cough it back up, and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Johnson fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher, shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
And we're back. Penalty for roughing on Justin Baxter of Moses Brown. So we have 3-on-2 hockey for the remainder of this overtime period. 1:18 to go. Broncos in prime position to potentially get a game-winning goal right here. And we get a timeout for Moses Brown. Moses Brown wants more time to talk things over. And we'll step aside while they do so. Score 1-1 once again as we take a timeout. The ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher shot, score! Cornell down the field, end zone! That is a touchdown!
The ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone,
And we're back. Timeout over. Overtime begins with 1:18 and 2 minutes in favor of the Broncos. On the faceoff, Rodriguez managing to come away with it and poked away and cleared effectively from the 17 of Kyle Bethune. Mansloff stops it in place for Pat Murphy. Not much time remaining in the overtime period. Under a minute to go. Sending it across, Murphy. This one a little wide, but it was right in that vicinity. And this one, Rodriguez, a player without a stick here. This one a little wide to the left. That's Bethune, who doesn't seem to have a stick. Trying to cut back in. Fournette, it bounces off the post. No good. Oh, my goodness. That could have ended it right there. But the hockey god said no. Rodriguez trying to set up a chance. Bethune pokes this puck away. Back to Carey at the point. In the slot. Bouncing off the defender. Garneau with the play. 20 seconds now remaining. Murphy, trying to cross it. Garneau sends it around. Ethan Garneau, not much time remaining, sending one at Mansloff, deflected off to the left. Under 10 seconds to go, and Rodriguez doesn't have a lot of time. He's really taking his time to send this up. Murphy, one chance, save. We are through overtime as the score still sits at 1 apiece. And we have a shootout coming. 3 shooters will come on the ice for either side in this shootout period. And we'll be right back in just a moment. The ball's loose. He'll cough it back up and he'll get across for the touchdown.
Rodriguez rolls out to his right, throws it back in the end zone, intercepted in the back of the end zone.
Fires, deflected, no, rebound, score!
The handball shot off the post, score!
Gonna try a kick, goes in!
Taken away on a stretcher shot, score!
Welcome back to Levy Ice Rink, ladies and gentlemen. Score still sitting at 1-1 between the Burrillville Broncos and the Moses Brown Quakers. And we have ourselves a shootout period brewing right here. 3 skaters. First one up for the Broncos is Patrick Murphy, taking on Camden Lucier in the net. A chance to potentially end this game. Murphy heads up ice. Cutting it close. Cuts back inside. No good. Called no good. The goal came off the moorings. And Murphy, that was questionable because that puck looked like it did cross the threshold. Now that'll bring out the 16 of Gabe Mamdani. Yesterday, he had 2 breakaway goals in the Quakers win over Ponagansett. A chance here. Mamdani heading right on Mansloff, and a great save. Both goaltenders giving it their all. Now that'll bring out for the Broncos the 10 of Ryan Fournette. Fournette will head down ice. Fournette Trying to play with them a bit right between the 5-hole. Score! Quakers need to answer back here. Otherwise, this one, it could be all said and done. One of their better skaters coming out now. That's going to be the 8 of Ethan Garneau. Trying to even the shootout up. Here is the final shooter, Garneau. Cutting across. Trying to find it, and there it is. A save. So it's 1-0. Rodriguez, the third skater. If he shoots it here, this will be over. Quakers need a save, and they need to answer. Rodriguez, a chance to end it. Rodriguez cuts back into the middle. Plays a whole lot of mind games, but loose here, holds strong. Final chance for Moses Brown. That's going to be the 7 of Aiden Agarwal. It is 1-0 in shootouts. Agarwal cuts back to the middle. Finds the back of the net as it wraps around. A good shootout goal, and we're all evened up once again. 3 more skaters to go, and we're all tied up at 1, Nick. That's going to send out the 9 of Burrillville. That's Cameron Potter. So we're all tied up at 1 apiece. We reset back to threes. Potter will head up the floor. Cam Potter with a lot of room to work with. Takes it right through the 5-hole again. Shot and score for this sniper. And the Broncos find themselves on top right away with their first skater. And now for the 14 of Max Travers. Travers heading down ice. Travers backhands it. Manslop with the save. And that'll do it. Final score in shootouts, 2-1. The Broncos defeat the Moses Brown Quakers here in Game 2 of Day 2 of the Burrillville Holiday Classic. Wow, Nick, that was quite a game we just witnessed.
Absolutely, and for both sides, this is how you want it to go. For both teams, obviously, there is a very, very strong chance of a playoff matchup between these two teams. If it took overtime just to find a winner, imagine what a playoff series is going to look like.
And this is definitely a nice give back to the Broncos, who last year were defeated in the postseason right here in Levy Ice Rink. Here, they take it in the Holiday Classic. This has a lot of brewing percussions that you have just mentioned for the postseason if both these teams make it in. So that does it for us here for Game 2. Stay tuned with us for Game 3, hopefully, between the Cumberland Clippers and the Pontiac Chieftains. But if not, he's Nick Carlson. I'm Chris Heatu right here on Fans Only Sports Network. Burrillville defeats Moses Brown by a score of 2-1 in shootouts. And we will catch you all in the next broadcast. Thank you.